it going, everybody? Welcome to another Student Gov Uncut, where I talk about student government topics in one uncut, unedited, nonstop video. Today, I want to discuss a topic that I've been researching for the last couple of weeks. It's something that has it really intrigued me, and I wonder why college student governments aren't discussing it, or maybe they are behind closed doors. But if you haven't discussed it, I hope that we can open up the door and open up the conversation to find out just why is it that high school student governments tend to be more active, more fun, garner more participation than college student governments. If college student governments have adults, you're 18 now, you're supposed to have more autonomy, you're supposed to be more independent, you're supposed to be more fun, you're supposed to be grown up. Shouldn't grown-ups have more fun than kids who are under constant supervision? I follow a lot of these Instagram accounts for the student governments of some of the local high schools in my area, and I am amazed, just absolutely amazed at how much activity they're able to garner. There was one high school, I'm not going to name it, but they recently had an activity where they encouraged students to send pictures of a turkey, like a hand turkey. And I thought it was kind of silly, and I thought, okay, all right, nice try. But they started sharing countless photos of students. I lost count of how many. And it was supposed to be for only one day, and they ended up sharing photos over several days because just so many students participated over something so simple. There wasn't any prize involved. It was just people having a chance to show their faces. So I've been thinking about it quite a lot, and I've thought about 5 things that I think student government or high school students in student government actually are do better than college student governments. And if you're a college student, community college, 4-year college, and you're in student government, I encourage you to take a look at some of these high school students and their student government social media accounts, because I got to tell you, you're going to be very impressed if you've never done this before. So I can go on and on about it, but I think I could break it down into five things, 5 lessons that I think college students can take from high school students when it comes to student government. So the first thing, first reason why I think high school students are better at student government than college students is college students appear to be more camera shy than high school students. I think I see this more often in the social media accounts with high school students. You see students are not afraid to take a selfie. They're not afraid to take a picture of themselves in their pajamas. They're not afraid to make a little video. They're not afraid to make a TikTok. They're not afraid to make a funny Snapchat. They're not afraid to share that and to label that as themselves. You see these videos where students are getting together, and it's high school students, waving at the camera, smiling at it, loving the attention. And when I was serving as a communications officer for Region 10, I noticed that was one of the biggest issues with college students. I would offer, I'd ask them to take a picture. Can I take your picture? Or I'm just recording a video. And they would immediately, say, you don't have my consent. Take it away from me. They would put their camera, their hand on the lens. They didn't want to be photographed, which to me was discouraging. Number 1, because it takes the fun out of it. Number 2, because these were elected officials. They have a responsibility to their constituents to let them know who they are. And we wouldn't tolerate that from the president. We wouldn't tolerate that from the mayor. If an elected official in your area said, don't record me, don't take pictures of me, I don't want you, recording me in a public space, it would really make you wonder, what is that elected official doing that they don't want recorded? So it was discouraging to see it. But high school students are not camera shy. They're not afraid to have their faces out there. And even when they act silly, it's fun. It's something that they enjoy doing. They don't mind being put out there. So I think that's one of the things that makes high school student government a lot more intriguing, because you're putting a face. It's not a logo. It's not your student government emblem or the college logo. No, it's the face of a person. The second thing that I think student government, our high school student governments do better, is that they love people. I know it can be very difficult to create connections with individuals when you are at the college level, because colleges tend to be very, very big, and high schools can be a little bit smaller and perhaps even a little bit cliquish. But you can see it in these pep rallies. If you remember your high school days, these student government officials loved people. They would, grab the mic and say, make some noise. And they would go around and give high fives. And, for some people, it was a little over the top, or perhaps they kind of wrote it off and said, oh, well, they're just, they're just being goofballs or gas bags. They just like the attention. It didn't matter because they didn't mind talking to you. When it comes to student government, it's like that joy just goes away. And there seems to be almost like, I'm not suggesting that college students don't like people, but what I'm saying is high school students seem to just love to be active and love to interact and shake hands, not even be formal or business-like. Just, say, hey, how's it going? Here's a piece of candy, vote for me. And I think that's really should be at the center of anybody who's going to be an elected official at whatever scale. You should have a love for people. You should have a love for your community if you're going to represent them. The third thing that I think high school students do better when it comes to student government is, and this might be a little controversial, but they're less political. So if you look at high schools and student governments, they usually just talk about Spirit Week, prom, homecoming, events that bring people together. Again, it's that love for people. And then you get to college and we start talking about political candidates, social justice, these causes that are for some people are very difficult to discuss because it touches on a very personal part of them. And there are a lot of students, and you may see this when you see maybe a lot of students didn't vote in the elections for your college, for the student government. You might think to yourself, why don't people want to get involved? And having personally asked students, why don't you want to join student government? Why don't you become a senator? Why don't you run for this? Why don't you join this committee? The answers that I heard over and over and over again were, I just don't know anything about politics. People there, I don't want to feel stupid. I don't want to feel like, I don't know anything about government. I don't even know the difference between a Republican and a Democrat. So maybe I don't belong there. And it alienates a lot of people who maybe they're not political. Maybe they just want to have some fun. And you see these student governments who say, well, if you're going to be in student government, it better be because you're going to make a difference. It better be because you're going to put in the work, because you're going to write resolutions, because you're going to go to these conferences and you're going to take this job seriously. And high school students, they're not about that. They're about bringing people together. They're about interacting with students and hearing firsthand what it is that they wish they had, whether it's 2 lines in the cafeteria or less heavy textbooks, right? And I think that is what allows more people to say, all right, I might give it a try. The fourth thing that high school students are better at when it comes to student government, and maybe this one was already obvious, but they're just better at having fun. When you become older, and even for me, even if you go to college, you may find this situation where, you text your friends and you say, hey, I want to hang out with all of you. What do you say we do something? And they're like, yeah, sure, let me know. And people just, they are kind of beat around the bush, or it almost seems like they don't want to hang out with you, or you ask them, what should we do? And they think, they really don't know what to do. And it just becomes a drag. It's almost as if you become an adult and you kind of forget how to have fun. But high school students, I don't know what it is. They enjoy one another's company so much. It could be that, they're teenagers, they're sort of going through changes and they enjoy the company of others more. I don't know, but they're so much better at it. And it's so wonderful to see that they're not, I think they're better at having fun. I think that they just say, you know what, let's go out to Starbucks and just talk, or let's go to the movies and watch a movie that nobody enjoys. But they do such a good job at having fun, and I think that's contagious, and it makes people want to learn more about student government. And the fifth reason why I think high school students are better at student government than college students, or at least better at getting people involved, and this might be the biggest takeaway you can get, is that they are social media masters. I'm not kidding. I think I'm pretty good at using social media. I am a complete noob compared to these kids. They are so incredible at it. They know how to use every platform, but most importantly, they're consistent. They post every day. They don't forget. You see these social media, and even in my own Instagram or my own YouTube, sometimes I go weeks without posting anything. But these kids, I'm telling you, they are so good at it, and they're consistent, and they show their faces, and they have a good time, and you almost get a sense of FOMO just watching it. And it's one of the things that I think I would encourage anybody who's watching this to really think about what your social media account for your student government, what do you think it says about you? I've seen a lot of these. I've done my research on some of you. If you're watching this, chances are I've probably seen your student government Instagram or your YouTube channel if you have one. And it's always so sad how many times I look at the latest post, and it was posted in 2017. 2017. I mean, anyone would look at it and say, what, are they no longer in business? Do they no longer exist? So take all of these tips, of course, with the best of intentions. I'm not saying this about every high school student or every college student leader. I say this because I'm so impressed by what this new generation of student leaders in high schools are doing, and I think that we can learn a lot from them. Don't think that just because somebody is younger that you can't learn anything from them. I think there's a lot to take away from this, and I think especially during this time when we're all staying at home and we may feel disconnected from others, this is the best time to learn from other individuals, especially from their social media accounts. Well, thank you so much for listening. If you have any other topics that you'd like me to discuss, please let me know. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you'd like me to cover. Until next time, thank you for watching. Bye.